Jay. You just heard James with Man vs. Movies. Give his Facebook page a like. Really good listening. Again, give a shout out to Dr. Rock. Get well soon, buddy. I know you're listening, so big ups to you, and we will see you very, very shortly. So tonight's we've got a new guest on the show, first time on the radio. So we've got Paul. Hang on, Paul.
Hello. And
obviously James from Established. He's kind of regular, and we've also got James from Man vs. Movies as well. He's always here. He's always here for a good laugh. So tonight we're just have a bit of a general chat. There's a few things we want to have a quick talk about. But Paul, so first time on the radio?
Oh, yes, I am.
And you're obviously a big car guy from what I've heard from James. So
yeah, probably one of the biggest.
Yeah. So tell us a bit about your car history. What cars are you into? Just give us a quick rundown for the good people of the community.
Well, I'm 41 years old, so that probably makes a bit of a difference for a lot of people.
So you would have had a good car history.
Yeah. When I got 18, I got my license, and since then I've been driving a few different cars. Most of them, they were sporty cars or cars that had a bit more performance than normal cars. And my favorite engine is a rotary engine.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of people are like that, are in the know, that know a lot about rotaries, that they, they say apex seals, this, that, and the other. But if you maintain one and you know how they actually work, they're a phenomenal engine. They're incredible the way they work.
Yes, they are.
And have you had a rotary?
Yeah, I've had a few different rotaries.
Yep.
The first one that I've had was probably in the early 90s and mid-90s. That was a Series 1 RX-7 with 12A.
Oh, nice.
Obviously, through the years, I was modifying the car, so it was getting quicker and better. And then after that, the times have changed. Police started to catch a lot more people, so I've upgraded the car to a Series 4 Turbo RX-7.
Oh, wow. Okay. Have you got that today? Or?
No, I sold the car about 9 years ago.
Ah, okay. Yeah, no, Series 4s are a really nice car.
Yeah, it was a fast car. It did 12.6 seconds over the quarter mile, and the terminal speed, 117 miles an hour, and that's street-driven, normal tyres, everything in the car, and very quiet exhaust.
So you modified it, obviously?
Yes, it was a copy of an engine that races in sports sedans, so basically it's a small rotary engine against big modified V8s, and it was a copy of one of those engines. I did it privately. Obviously, it had a Motec computer, it had different injectors, different fuel pumps, bigger turbo, very quiet exhaust with a cat, because I hate the smell of fumes.
Yeah. Plus you want to stay legal in case you get pulled over.
Yeah, and the car was only running 13 pounds of boost, so it wasn't that much.
That's not much for a rotary. They tend to take a bit more. So that 12.1 over the 12.1 you said, yeah?
No, 12.6.
12.6. That's still a very quick car.
Yes, 12.6, and the 60-footer time for that car was 2.2 seconds, which is not very quick.
It's just not too bad either.
No.
So, and have you had other rotaries, or it's just been?
Yes. Before that car, I had the older generation RX-7, which is the same. Pretty much looks for Series 1, 2, and 3, the small body, and that car had a 12A engine. I was going to upgrade it to a 13B, which is much bigger and much better driving engine than 12A. However, I didn't have really enough money, and the 12A revved so well that I just kept the 12A. And over the years, I've had it for about 2 years, but I've had 3 different engines in it.
Okay.
I used to rev them very, very hard.
Nice, yeah.
Plus, they were not really built for that much revs. So, first engine blew up basically when I was revving it to 11,000 RPM.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
And then the rest of the the rest of the engines were fine.
Yeah.
I just wanted, after that, there was a standard engine that revved to 11,000. It only revved for 1 day.
And that was a 12A?
Yeah, 12A. Then I've upgraded that engine to large extend port. That was very, very good, much better than standard. However, it still wasn't enough, so I've upgraded the 12A to 12A bridge port.
Okay.
But I don't think it was a good idea. I don't think it had any more power than that extend port. Well, after that, 3 engines, basically, the times have changed, and I started experiencing turbocharged cars back then. That was probably back in '95.
Yeah.
and the turbo was a lot faster, a lot more torquey, no noise. It was a lot better. So everyone that I knew and was into cars.
Went turbo.
Yeah, went turbo.
Yeah. So your 12A would have been carburetor as well, yeah?
Yes. First, the old generation RX-7s, they had 12A engines. They came out with 4-barrel carburetors. Yeah. You could upgrade it to a downdraft Weber 48mm, and that's a big jump, and that's a very good modification for one of the earlier Rotaries. In my opinion, it is probably a lot better to change the Weber, change for a Weber from the 4-barrel carby than stripping the engine and porting the ports.
Yeah. There you go. So, I mean, Webers especially are known for like having good carbs. So, like being a good carb, and if you get better flow and fuel, and it's always a good modification to do.
That's correct. As long as the Weber is jetted up correctly for that engine and the modifications, it will perform really well. It will be probably even more economical than the 4-barrel carburetor that the car was released with.
And again, it's how the car's been tuned as well. You got to when a car is tuned perfectly, the car will run mad. It will run really good, which is I'm sure you would have had when you would have been that way with your cars.
Yeah, look, with a Weber, the best way to tune them is on a dyno, and you need to change internal parts of the carburetor. I don't know how many people do it these days because everyone pretty much got a turbocharged car, so not many people use Webers. However, for sure there are people in Melbourne that know how to tune them very nicely, so they drive well, they're still economical, and they perform
like they're supposed to.
Like they're supposed to.
Yeah. Well, tuning carbs is a dying art, though, isn't it? Like there's not many people doing it anymore because everything's electronic fuel injection now, but you'll still find people that will still do it, and the people that have stuck with it do it well. So find a good a good person with carbs, and you'll be very happy with that.
That's correct. Unfortunately, a lot of workshops are expensive because it takes a skilled mechanic to do it correctly. So if you have a Mazda Rotary, there is a very good chance that you'll be paying a fair bit to get your car going really quick. But I think you're going to get the satisfaction at the end that you've got a car that turns heads, it's quick, and basically that's it.
And they're great to drive. I mean, back in the 80s, my mother was going to buy a brand new RX-7. And it fell through last second. Like she I think she met my dad, so that kind of ended that experience. But yeah, like when she told me back then the RX-7s were awesome, and it was just they still are awesome. And they if you see one, they do turn heads. And
yeah, look, the good thing about the RX-7s is that they are very stable at high speeds. So even the old Series 1, 2, and 3, you can drive them on a highway, let's say. Not on a highway, on a track, about 220, 230 kilometers per hour. And if the suspension is good and the tires are good, the car is pretty stable for such an old car.
Yeah.
And then going up to a Series 4 and 5, which is the Porsche-looking RX-7, that's even better. You can have that car at, let's say, even 240, 250 Ks, and it's very, very stable.
Yeah, I like those shape ones. They're like quintessentially like boxy 80s and really, really cool.
Look, I had my Series 4 RX-7. That was a Series 4 changed to a Series 5. Yeah. But, I had it for 12 years, and I did different modifications to that as well. And all the time when I had it, I was looking at Porsches like 944 and thinking, should I upgrade or downgrade? Should I upgrade? And then a few years ago, I met someone that had a Porsche 944.
Turbo?
No, non-turbo, 3-liter, naturally aspirated, in a really good condition. Yeah. I had a very good look at that car inside, outside, and I haven't driven it, but I think the RX-7 looks a lot better inside and feels more comfortable and more racy than the Porsche.
Yeah.
When you sit in it, but I haven't driven the Porsche.
Haven't driven the Porsche. Well, I've heard good things about 944 turbos. I've heard that they're a really good catch if you can get one, but obviously parts on a Porsche are a lot more expensive than parts on a Mazda, so... and the aftermarket support's always there for the Mazda. So, I mean, rotary support's huge, especially in Japan and even in America and stuff. So, in Australia as well, actually, there's massive support for rotary.
That's true. You can get you can still get a lot of new parts through Mazda for the rotary, like housings, seals, and everything else that you need. And it's not that expensive. It's just the labor that's expensive to rebuild engines and do other modifications. But the good thing about Mazda rotary cars is they are engineered well. And if you don't do very bad things to them, like, almost killing them stupidly.
11,000 RPM.
11,000 RPMs. Like first gear was almost 80 k's an hour. Second gear 125. Third gear 180.
Yeah.
And yeah, the car is the car is gonna go well for a lot of years. And I heard of stories of cars that lasted 200 or 300,000 kilometers.
There you go. As long as they're maintained as well and looked after.
Yeah. If you rev a rotary engine like you rev a piston engine, which is 6,500 RPM, even 7, the engine will live very long life.
Yeah.
However, if you start doing, very high RPM, almost like an old Formula 1 car, well, you need to have an engine that costs like an engine from an old Formula 1 car, which is maybe $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 for it to live.
To live that long, yeah. And to take the abuse. Look, we're going to get to our first break of the night. We're going to get to our first song as well. We're back on 98.9 Northwest FM. That was TK Miser with Simulation. Hope you like that one. So we're back. We've still got James in the show. So how you going, James?
Yeah, good. How you doing?
Not bad, mate. What's happening with Established?
Established pretty good. It's going well. The Facebook site is going well. Quick shout out to the guys at Established. Everyone's doing well. We've got a meeting coming up to discuss actually an event that's coming up on Saturday.
Cool. And the event's where and give the people a.
So the event is for Melbourne Car Meets. Pretty good group that's coming up. They've developed 14,000 members in the past 2 years, roughly. The event is an invitational event, so it's just come along, see what Melbourne has to offer, see what Victoria has to offer. Basically, the event is going to be in Thornbury from 12 till 4. It's on Matisi Street. That's Matisi.
Is that in the city or?
It's in Thornbury.
Oh, Thornbury. Okay.
So it's pretty local.
Yeah, it's not too far.
There's an inside and an outside. So there's a shed, with premium builds that are inside, and then the outside is where the established stand would be. Kicking it with all the rest of us.
Yeah. So anyone welcome? They can bring their cars in.
You have to jump on the Facebook because it's an invitational, and for OH&S and liability and whatnot.
Yeah, of course.
The cars have to stay parked from I think 11 till 4.
Yep.
So you just got to register on the website. I think registrations close on Thursday. It's $20 to park outside, $30 to park inside. The money's going pretty sure to a charity. So
cool. Yeah. Get on it. Get on it, people. That sounds like a really good event coming up because there hasn't been really much in the car scene or anything.
We've managed to get a bagged Mazda 3 for our stand, my Mazda 3, another MPS, as well as an American charger.
Cool.
So unfortunately, I don't know about Adam's charger because he's at the mechanics, but there's also an XC Coupe coming.
Oh, tough.
Which should be cool.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah, so, I like those. They're cool.
Yeah. Well, come on down, say hi.
Say hi, yeah. What day is it? Saturday?
It's Saturday the 10th.
What time?
11 till 4.
11 to 4, cool. So be there, people. It's a meet in for the community. So, Paul, what do you currently drive now?
At the moment, I'm driving BMW M135i manual.
I like those cars a lot. Twin turbo 6.
No, it's actually...
Single?
Yeah, single yeah. Twin scroll.
Twin scroll, that's right, yeah. Sorry.
It's a European Supra.
European Supra, yeah.
Basically, I think a lot of people like the straight 6-cylinder engine that's turbocharged, similar to a Supra and a GTR. Obviously, stock BMW like that, it's not on the same level, but...
They're still quick cars.
Yeah.
They're light. Well, they're not light, but they're smaller, so they're quite agile.
Yes, they are, but the good thing about the BMW is that the engine is really nice, very smooth, and revs as well. It doesn't really rev to like 8,000 RPM, just revs to 7.
Doesn't have to rev that high,
Yeah, it drives really nicely. It's got very good torque, extremely good fuel consumption, and mine doesn't burn oil, so that's good.
That's good. It's always a good sign when your car doesn't burn oil. So how long you had that for? Is that a recent addition? Or just...
Yeah, I got the car about 5 months ago, and before that I had a Mazda 3 MPS, slightly modified.
Oh, right, like him.
Yeah, just like James.
That's basically how we met.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah. So what was done to your MPS?
MPS had a Cobb tune.
Yep.
that was custom tuned on a dyno. It had different spark plugs, obviously. Otherwise, the standard plugs had developed a problem. Another thing was from our intercooler, so I had to change some of the plumbing. It had a lot of dynamet because I don't like loud cars.
Like it nice and quiet, yeah.
Yes, and the thing with the MPS, the engine sounds really, how can you say it? The engine sounds really...
Like you're hurting it?
Yeah, it doesn't rev that high, and the sound that it makes, it's very unpleasant. Yeah. So if you put dynamet in it, it changes the frequency of the sound and just makes it
a bit nicer.
Yeah, it makes it feel like and makes it sound more like a Volkswagen.
Okay, well that's always good. I don't mind. I don't mind the way the Volkswagen sound, especially like the Golf R's and stuff. They sound quite nice. Especially with the DSG fart at the gear change, which is
Smokes fast sound good.
Yeah, the A45s and stuff. Yeah, they sound grouse.
Especially with an exhaust, man. They just, you can hear them a while away too. You know something's coming.
They sound angry. They sound like it sounds good. But yeah, so and what made you get the BMW over the MPS?
Look,
over front-wheel drive, or
that was one thing. But the second thing was that because I had the MPS for 8 years, it was just time for me to move on.
Oh, did you buy new?
Yeah, I got the car new in 2008.
Oh, nice.
So I had the car for that many years, and when you have the car for that many years, and because I'm a car enthusiast, you just want to upgrade the car after a while. So
was it a Series 2 BK, or was it a?
It was a Series 2 BK.
Yeah. One of the later ones, because it was a 2008 they changed over, wasn't it, to be
2009? I think it was for the BL.
Yeah, BL. Yeah, but the BL was pretty much essentially the same car underneath. Like the underpinnings, it's just minor changes, and the body and interior. So
actually, I think
the motor changed.
There was a 2.5. There was a 2.5.
No. It's still 2.3, but they changed internals. Like they strengthened some things. They changed their VVT actuator.
Okay.
Some stuff like that, fueling and whatnot.
Computer,
yeah.
And even the gearbox is slightly different.
The standard BK tune is a lot more angry. It's not as refined as the BL.
Yeah.
It just came out. It was just like, here's 380 newtons at $3,000.
Just try to deal with that. Yeah. Well, I mean, you said you were mate with the one you at the Snowy 1000 had like lower boost in the first 2 gears just to put the power down. So
it had like. What is he running? 30-pound boost in first and second?
No, I think he was saying about first run was about 10 pounds.
When he took me, he had 30-pound in first and second.
Yeah. Was it insane?
It was crazy. He was sitting in third. He'd break boost at 80 k's an hour, and it would just go like bang, limiter straight away.
Far out. That's insane.
But yeah, on the Snowy 1000, what do you have? Like 10 pound?
Yeah, first 1 or 2 runs was about 10 pounds, and then it was either 14 or 16. However, I think not everyone is telling us the truth.
So you were there as well. Was that your first Snowy 1000 as well? Or
yes, it was the first time that I went.
And how did you find it? Did you enjoy it?
I went there with my wife and daughter.
Oh, cool.
And we thought that as soon as we got there and we saw the cars, we thought that I should have entered.
With your
with my BMW or my wife's car, it doesn't matter. With any of those cars, maybe people who are watching the race, maybe they're not going to be entertained, but at least I'll be entertaining myself when I'm driving.
You'll have fun.
That's correct.
You would have had a good time, no matter what car you were. I mean, he said last week a guy entered in a Jazz, so I'm sure you could have more fun.
That's correct.
He entered in an Evo, but his Evo, broke a diff, so. The girlfriend's Jazz will have to do.
Well, it'll have to do. If you run what you brung, as they used to say, and just do that.
The guy still got to 200 k's. He did unbolt the exhaust though.
So he was like just full loud out the side of
VTEC.
VTEC coming in. That would have been pretty funny to see. I was going to get your thought, James, because you obviously would establish that stance cars. Now, we haven't really. This is a kind of a grey subject. Did you know much about stance cars? So I'm sure you would have seen with the really bad, like the really like full on camber and stuff like that.
How far is too far?
How far is too far? And should it be should it be allowed to happen, or like to be just to be accepted, or should it be really
Look, I think it's cool if you do it right. There is a benefit to it, but for street use, it's probably stupid.
Because the reason I'm bringing this
especially in Australia.
Well, yeah, the reason I'm bringing this up, I saw a video recently on YouTube. This is like meet in America, and it's just all stands cars go to, and the cops just come and just pretty much total the cars away. And like they pretty much ask people why you do it, and like these cars like stance beyond like you can't even drive these things, like they're that low. They're like, oh, just pretty much just to get looks. I'm like, well, if it's ruining your car, ruining your undercarriage, ruining your components, obviously your bushes and everything else, it's not going to be a good time. Why? Yeah, like there's stance and then there's stance. Like that's from what I've learned. There's stance and there's stance. Like there's stance like stupid stance, and there's stance when you do a car right.
Look, stance is cool if it's done right.
Yeah.
Tucking is nice.
Tucking's nice. Yeah, I got nothing.
I don't like too much poke. Tucking with the right amount of camber. I mean, bagged cars, they can do it all day long. But you got to have balls to do it static, and you got to have balls to do it static right. Because in Australia, if you can't get over a speed bump, even on an angle, forget it.
Yeah.
If you can't go down the freeway and then you can rip your bar off on a leaf, it's really not worth it. But if you can do it right, and you can sit at let's say 40 mil off the ground, I know it's illegal still, but that's cool.
And if it looks okay, if it's still drivable, as long as it's drivable, that's the main thing. Like I went in a stance car, and it just was not drivable. Like this thing was, you're bumping like flat roads, you're bumping up and down, and you're scraping on a flat road.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is just pointless. Like you're killing your car.
Not just that. Like the amount of money. All right, let's say the amount of money you spend on the car to do it, and then how much you're going to spend on tires in 2,000 Ks with that camber. The inside of your tires is screwed. If you get directional tires, forget it. Chuck them in the bin. Yeah. Because you can't do anything with them.
That's it.
So it's just if you're going to do it, I think you're going to have to invest in like a container load of tires. Group buy.
Group buy, or you'll be just like stealing second-hand tires off second-hand tire shops.
Falcons and Commodores, but yeah.
Well, yeah, I just because I saw this video, and I'll put it on our Facebook page, and it was just like people came from all over America just to this one meet, and it was insane. Like like brand new cars, like stance beyond recognition, and like just scraping, and it was. I'm like like I can understand why people do it, but at the end, in the same token, I'm just like, is it really worth worth damaging a car and worth constantly spending the money on repairs if you're just going to like kill it?
Maybe the people who do up cars that way, maybe they're not car enthusiasts, but they attention seekers.
Yeah, well, that's
basically it's called hard parking.
Hard parking, yes. And like, look, I've got nothing wrong with hard parking. If you're doing it bagged and stuff, so you can only drive out of the driveway and be normal, by all means, hard parking looks tough. But if you're just doing it just for looks, like these guys were pretty much just saying, oh, I just do it. He gets defected every year, or gets his car towed away every year. This one guy said. He's like, oh, I do it because I enjoy getting the attention. Like pretty much, he didn't say it in that terms, but that's pretty much what he was meaning. I'm just like, far out, man. It's so not worth it. But yeah.
Look, if you're going to wide body your car and you're going to square set, I'd much prefer to see like an 11-inch wheel on a Golf or something. Like like something crazy, something that someone in the car scene, John Vader's pulled off with his wide body Golf R, like one of the first in the world, you could say, on bags as well. And he's done a really nice job. Doesn't matter what wheel he puts on it, it still looks immaculate. But yeah, like it just depends on who you are, what you want to do with your car, and how much money you got to spend at the end of the day.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, that's what it comes down to at the end. Like in any modifying, the first thing I'm guessing you'd know as well, Paul. The first thing you do, okay, do I have the budget for this mod?
Yes. Look, I don't like cars that have too much negative camber when you drive them on the street, or if they're too low, because when you drive the car on the street, it needs certain amount of suspension travel.
Of course, you're big time.
Yeah, and look, engineers put a lot of time and money and effort into engineering the car Sometimes if you put different springs, different shock absorbers in the car, it will work a lot better. But other times, if you overdo it, it's going to be worse. You know, it may definitely look a lot better,
Yeah.
but as soon as you go over speed humps or you go over a rough road, the suspension doesn't recover quickly enough, and you can have your car sliding off the road.
Cracked rooms.
Well, that and the spring rates will be all over the place. So like you get that wobble, and then when you come to a corner, like if you get like a mid-quarter bounce, it can send you off the road.
That's correct. Also negative camber is a big problem. Negative camber, toe in, toe out. If there is too much of it, if you have bumps on the road and holes, and because we live in Melbourne, there are a lot of it.
Yes, there is.
And that's one of the reasons why I've got a BMW now.
Yeah.
You'll be fighting with the steering wheel. Actually, to tell you the truth, if you're driving a rear-wheel drive car with a proper racing suspension, old style, okay, it is a lot worse to drive than a front-wheel drive car that's got torque. I mean torque steer.
Oh, big time.
So I'd rather have a front-wheel drive car with torque steer than a rear-wheel drive car that's got so much negative camber and such a firm suspension that you're just fighting with the steering wheel all the time.
And it makes it hard work, and it makes just driving to the shops hard work. You know, it makes everything just annoying, and it's.
Yeah, I think a lot of us modify the cars not for the car to be so much faster. We just want the car to feel better.
Yeah.
And this is why people modify them. And I think if you go over too much, you're destroying the car.
You are, yeah. And at the end of the day, is it really worth it? We've got a message from Alan. He's been a member of the show. He said stands can be cool, but it's taken too far often. And I'll have to agree on with that point. I'll leave you there because we're gonna go to another break. We'll come back right after this with the car quiz. So Paul, you ready for a car quiz?
I am.
You ready? He's G'd up. He's ready for it. But James has got a song he wants to play tonight. That's right, 98.9 Northwest FM. You're back on CarTorque with Matty J. Keep those texts coming in. We've still got about 20 minutes after the show. So 044 7777 989. That number is 044 7777 989. Got something to say? Give us a shout out. Give us your opinion, like Alan did, about stance cars. Got any topics that you want us to talk about? We're more than happy to accommodate. It's car quiz time, so Paul is on the hot seat for it. Are you ready for the car quiz? That's the big question.
I'm ready.
He's ready? He's pumped?
Yeah, look, I'm not very optimistic, but I'm ready.
He's ready. All right, so it's car quiz time. This is the car quiz. Good, have music playing. Question 1. True or false, the LSA engine is naturally aspirated?
I think it is.
No, false, it's supercharged. Question 2. HDT released a model for the VL Commodore. Its name began with N. What was its name? This is back in the 80s, 86, 87.
Skip it.
You can skip it and come back.
Yeah, I'll skip it.
Come back. Question 3. The new current and like the latest Nissan Patrol has live axles front and rear. True or false?
It may have that, but I'm not 100% sure. It's possible because a lot of four-wheel drive cars have live axles.
True or false? What are you going to go with?
Okay, it's false.
False, correct. The new one doesn't. Question 4. The Lancia Delta Integrale was the last Lancia to win a World Rally Championship.
No, I think they had newer cars after Lancia.
But like the last one to win the rally. Was it true? Was it the last Lancia to win a rally, a World Rally Championship, or was there more after that?
Okay, I think it was the last one.
Last one, that's correct. Yes. Question 5. The Lancia Stratos used an engine from what manufacturer?
Fiat.
Ferrari. Used the Dino V6.
Yeah. I think that engine
They was using it in a Fiat
on the
as well.
Fiat, yeah.
I'll give you that one. Because it was used in both cars. I'll give you that one. Question 6. The Dodge Viper has how many cylinders?
10.
That's correct. Question 7. the Lexus LS400 is the same car as the Toyota what? Starts with C. No, Celisaur.
It's not a sports car.
Is that a sports car? Question 8. FPV released an SUV. What was it called? Four performance vehicles released an SUV. There weren't many made.
Pursuit.
No, that's the Ute. I'll give you one more chance. It's based on it's based off the territory, and it has the 6-cylinder turbo.
Tornado. Typhoon.
F6X.
Oh yeah.
Question 9. What came first, the Golf GTI or the 205 GTI?
I think Golf.
Golf is correct. Question 10. What two sizes did the original 205 GTI come with? There was 2 engine sizes that came with. I'll give you half a point each if you get them right.
I'm just guessing maybe 1.8.
Close.
2 liter?
No, 1.9, and there was another one.
No idea.
No idea, 1.6 and 1.9. Back to the question we skipped. It began for the VL Commodore. For the HDT release, the model that began with the letter N. I'll give you a hint, it only came with a 6-cylinder or the 6-cylinder turbo. It's called the Nitron.
No, I would never guess that.
That's all good. Well, let's see how many you got, Paul. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 out of 10. Not bad. Not bad for a first attempt.
50-50.
50-50. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Not bad. You'll have to come on again, and I'll have to have some more sports car related questions, and then I might be able to get a bit more of those. But no, that's a fair effort. Not bad. Not bad at all. How do you think it went, James?
I think he did pretty well. First time on the radio. He's doing pretty well, man. I'm impressed.
Yeah. There were some hard questions in there, so like that. The Nitron was hard.
I never would have even thought about that, man.
Oh, it's an '80s car, so I thought I'd put it in there. It was, it was, it was, came turbo as well, so it was a bit of an interesting car. All right, so that's the car quiz done for another week. So not bad. 5 out of 10's okay. 5 out of 10's okay. If you were to buy a car now, Paul, what would you buy that tickles your fancy on the new car market? Because obviously you're into your sports cars.
Yes. Look, it depends on the purpose of the car. I think that the VF Commodore is probably one of the best cars ever produced in Australia, and my wife's got SV6 manual, and it's a really, really good car. I've driven a lot of cars. That car is comfortable, it looks good, it's got good performance, and it's fun to drive.
Yeah, I couldn't completely agree with you. I reckon that if you get an SSV VF with the LS3 V8,
that's a different price range.
And it's a different price range, but to me, I love those cars. I'd buy one. I would have one on my driveway.
You get one with big brakes.
The Brembos. You get one with the Brembo package, and you got an awesome car.
That's correct.
So that's if we're talking family cars. What if we're talking about like more sportier cars? So is there anything on the market, like for example, like a Focus RS or like Mazda MX-5, like the new one, the RF?
I've driven the latest MX-5. There's very small body, and that had a 1.5 engine with manual gearbox, and in my opinion, it drives better than the BMW that I've got.
Really?
Yes. The power, it's not as good, but the steering, the gear shift, the suspension, it's, in my opinion, a lot better than my BMW M135i.
There you go. Well, everyone says that an MX-5, like, you have to drive one. That they recommend they are just one of the best driving cars you can buy. Like, look, let's be honest, they got no power, but that's not the point of an MX-5. An MX-5 is the point. The point of an MX-5 is driving pleasure. And I think you don't get that on many cars like you get on an MX-5.
Look, the 1.5-litre MX-5 doesn't have a lot of power, but for a 1.5-litre engine in a light body, it performs really well.
They move, yeah.
And the engine sounds good as well.
The 2-litre one, they come in a 2-litre as well, don't they?
They do, yeah. It's called the big block in a MX-5.
Big block for 2-litre.
But yeah, I think the 1.5 is really good, and it revs a lot higher than the 2-litre. I think 2-litre revs to 6,700, and the 1.5, I think 7.5.
Well, there you go. So you can bounce the valves off the top of the bonnet for as long as you want, because you can rev it out. No, I'm a big fan of the MX-5, but the new one, the RF, with the retractable fastback. Have you seen the pictures of that?
I have seen it, but I don't think it's out in Australia yet.
Not yet. It's coming soon. I reckon it looks awesome. I reckon it's one of the best looking cars that they've ever made.
There is another car that is very similar to an MX-5 that's basically a rebadged MX-5.
The Fiat?
The Fiat 124 Abarth.
And you get that with a turbo?
Yeah, 1.4 litre turbo engine.
Have you driven one of those? Or?
No. I've seen it on the street, but I haven't driven one.
People are saying if you just cover the badges, it's a turbo MX-5. That's pretty much what it is, and it's getting good reviews. So maybe they can, because it is an MX-5 basically. It's an MX-5 chassis and everything. It's just with a turbo at one point, smaller engine, but a turbo on there. So there's more tuned capabilities, I guess you could say.
Yes. However, some cars that are shipped to Australia, they have different specifications, and car that is designed for Australian market may have a sort of built-in suspension, and a car that is designed for Europe may have a slightly different suspension, which is like, for example, Mazda.
Okay.
Mazda's on the original suspension. So they may vary. This is why when you watching reviews for a car from Europe, from England, let's say, sometimes the car doesn't perform as well as one from Australia, or the other way around.
Well, see that's quite interesting, because I know with the latest Mustang, and especially in both, I'm pretty sure the EcoBoost and the GT spec, they come with the performance pack suspension, whereas but they don't say that's just how they come standard. Whereas in the States and stuff, you have to pay for that extra. And the people, they say, oh, the standard suspension that's obviously not as good. So it's interesting that we are getting just that one option of just the Bilsteins in the Fiat.
Yes, because in Australia we like performance cars.
We do, yeah.
And we don't mind paying a little bit extra for getting the good stuff on the car.
Exactly right. And like they say, we do pay a premium, but that premium comes at benefit. You're getting a better car at the end of the day. You're getting pretty much options on the car.
Yes.
So it's interesting you said the MX-5, because I've always been a big fan of an MX-5, and I've been in an MX-5. I've never driven one, but from the passenger seat, they seem like they're really loft on the ground. They seem like really fun to drive.
All MX-5 drive really well. I've driven a few older ones, and they're all good, but they're very, very small car.
Yeah.
So if you're a big bloke, it may not be the best idea for you to have that car.
Not very practical either. I mean, like I was looking at one of those before I bought my Laser. I was looking at a SW20 MR2 as well, but two-seaters, especially when you was picking up a lot of people and sister and brother and all that, it's like kind of a handicap unless you have the time for a proper two-seater. So, but having said that, MX-5, I probably would have chosen the MX-5 over the SW20.
I had friends. Sorry, but I had friends that say they preferred an MX-5 over like they've driven a Porsche, like a 911.
That's it.
Yeah, and they prefer their like NB MX-5.
You know what's cool though? I've always liked the SEs, and they were like a factory turbo MX-5, and that
BBT motor.
Yeah, they come. I mean, they're a bit pricey, but apparently they're the ones to go for. Like they come in the. Everyone says the NB is the least desirable model, but I didn't find the NB that bad. I thought the NB was okay.
I think the turbocharged Mazda that you're talking about is the 1.8 litre engine with Australian pack turbo put on it. I don't think they were.
There was two. There was an SE and an SP. SPs came. They fitted the turbos here. SEs came factory turbo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, two different cars, but the SE came with it had less power, but it came with a body kit and came with a different interior. Where the SP looked like a standard Mazda and BMX-5, just with a lot more power, with obviously the turbocharger. And
that's a better choice.
It would be the better choice. Yeah, you're not paying for looks; you're paying for performance. At the end of the day. Look, we're going to go to our last break of the night. That's right, 98.9 Northwest FM. You're back on CarTorque with Matty J. We're almost done for tonight. Final few words. We were talking during the break about obviously those two Mazda MX-5s, the two editions, the SE and the SP. Look on car sales, and you'll have a quick look at you'll see their specs and stuff. But we're also talking about driving the other side of the road, because our guest is from Poland. So he said it takes time to adjust. So you were telling us the difference. If you're adjusting in a good car, it's a lot quicker than adjusting in a crappy front-wheel drive car.
Yeah, there is a difference. If you like a car and the car is that type of car that you really enjoy driving and it listens to you, it's probably a lot easier to adapt to drive on the other side of the road than not.
Yeah, and I guess you got to get your mindset as well. Like you got to say, "Oh crap, yeah, I'm driving on that side. I'm not just driving on the road anymore." One more thing I'd like to leave you with, guys. Please, please, please look where you're driving and pay attention, because I have been hit yet again in my car for the second time this year, and I'm not impressed. I'm not going to single out the guy or anything. I'm just because my sister's been hit 4 times when she's been sitting stationary in the space of 6 months. 4 times. My mother once this year and me twice. So I'm just saying, please, people, get off your phones, drive, look at the road, and pay attention, because small hits. I'm not it's not no one died, but if you're not paying attention on the roads, and you actually cause a bigger accident, you are taking your life and other people's lives at risk. So please, just pay attention when you're on the road. It's like my little stupid community service announcement, but it is a community service announcement. So pay attention on the road, people. It is a vital thing, and I'm sure you guys would have to agree with me on those points.
Yeah,
guaranteed.
So we're pretty much up right up for time. Any last messages for the people?
I would just shout out to my girlfriend, man. She likes cars. She's getting into them slowly, and I'm teaching her manual. So, hopefully she doesn't destroy it, so I can have to
No
get
clutch
a new clutch. But she's all right. She's doing well. Paul?
Today it's my daughter's name day, which is similar to a birthday. So I just want to say hello to my daughter and happy name day.
Happy name day. What's her name?
Nicole.
Happy name day, Nicole. There you go. That's a shout out from your dad, and shout out from us at 98.9 Northwest FM. The radio station for the Northwestern community. We are always here, and we will always be here every Tuesday night. Tune in next week. Like our Facebook page. It's CarTorque with Manny J. It's talk with a TORQUE. Pardon the pun. Give us a like. Give us a share a page around. I'll be putting up a photo with the guys, just on the Facebook page, and I'll be updating the results. And I always upload like videos. I sometimes do live stuff, and put some funny car related memes, because that's all I get bored with at work. I look at memes. Obviously, like James J's page, I was about to say CarTorque. It's Man vs Movies on Facebook. Give his page a like. Established. James, give Established a quick plug.
So Established, that's ESTBLSHD. No vowels.
No vowels. Give their Facebook page a like. They're always running events for the community, because we are for the community on this radio station. If you got any other shout-outs, Paul, just all good. Well, we are out of time tonight. I'm going to leave you with a song by Alice in Wonderland. She's another Aussie artist. She's actually done well for herself in America, which is pretty good. It's good to see us Aussie artists getting out there and getting noticed. I'm going to play a song called "Take It to Reality" featuring Safia. Safia is obviously another Aussie group, and they're really, really popular at the moment. So I'll leave you with that once my CD actually loads, because it's been kind of playing up all night. I don't know why it's... Oh, there we go. So this is Take It to Reality with Alice in Wonderland. I will see you guys next week, and in the meantime, take it easy.